joining us now is a guy who doesn't have to deal with that type of issue, although he did lose his starting quarterback. There was a backup that he knew well, that he dropped into Baltimore, and all of a sudden this man's team, in his first year as a head coach, are tied for 4th in the entire NFL at 2-1. Number 1 in the AFC South. Ladies and gentlemen, football genius and stallion head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
How we doing?
How we doing, guys?
Hey, 2-1, top of the AFC South. Let's go, Shane.
Let's go.
Got a lot of work to do. We still got a lot of work to do, but it's a good start.
I like
good
that,
start.
I like that was your answer, but I want to let you know, I hope you look in the mirror every once in a while and go, all right, we lost the number 4 overall pick in the first 2 games of the season. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 games. Feels like we're on the right track there. Our running back, who's our best player, just doesn't want to play. We got Gardner Minshew, who's been kind of knocked around the entire NFL, and you should take it in, Shane. You've done a good job. A good job, Shane.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's talk about it.
I got something for you, though.
What's that?
It's living in here.
Wow.
Yes.
Let's go, Shane.
For the brand.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's living in here.
It's
living in here.
You sling it at all? You throw it around at all? It's a good ball.
A little bit. It's a little in the think tank. We just been here. We pitch it around a little bit when we're game planning.
All right. Well, I appreciate the fact that we're in there a little bit. And don't ever bury that ball. Bury another ball if it goes bad, but don't bury that ball. Let's chat. I like that this thing's moving. Conti's phone's on 1,000. We appreciate Matt Conti setting this up. Shane, as soon as you become the head coach here, one of the first signings is Gardner Minshew, right? Obviously, for us as a fan, we go, oh, this makes sense because he was at Philadelphia. Wish Shane knows his offense, will be a good mentor. Then whenever I talked to everybody around the building, Gardner was like, hey, I'm ready to play, want to play, ready to be the guy. With what happens to Anthony Richardson, obviously we don't love. But what did you know about Gardner Minshew whenever you, I assume, told Chris Ballard you want to sign him then? And what do you know about him now as a guy that got you a massive W in Baltimore and might be playing a lot more football this year than we could have imagined?
Yeah, no, Gardner's a hell of a football player. The one thing about Gardner, he loves ball. And I think when you love ball at that position and you take your job seriously and you work and you grind and you're a student of the game, you become successful. So whenever he has to play, he goes in and he operates at a high level. Did it in Houston, and then obviously had the huge win this past weekend in Baltimore. Just very thankful to have him on this football team.
Now, the boys told me training camp that he was excited to play, ready to play, would be a starter still in his eyes going in there. How have you had to balance that with Anthony Richardson? Their relationship, I assume, is great. And what are your thoughts on AR's first couple games, even though we missed the third one already?
Yeah, no, AR's done a heck of a job. He came in, hit the ground running when we drafted him, just learning the offense, learning the system, and then obviously through training camp and then the first couple games he played, he made some big-time plays for us. And then Gardner's been just a great resource for him, on a daily basis in the meeting rooms. The days off, they're in here watching tape together, learning, right, grinding, growing together. But it's been awesome to have both those guys, and very thankful.
Baltimore win is huge, bro, because – you know this, I assume Jim told you about this, but Baltimore a little special place because what happened back in 1980, whatever, when the team moves over there. And I was told whenever my first couple years going out to Baltimore, like there will still be Ravens fans that'll tell you that you're a sellout and a coward because the Colts left back in the 80s before any of you were alive. What did you learn about your team in Baltimore? What did you learn about your team over there?
Resilience, toughness. I mean, those guys just didn't give up. You know what I mean? It was a back and forth game. It was a great battle by both teams. But just the guys kept believing, right? Shoot, almost 5 quarters of football. You got 3 possessions in overtime, which is really rare. And then to get that game-winning field goal by Matt Gay was huge.
Matt Gay, you guys paid him this past offseason. I was excited to see a little bit of a money investment in special teams. Now he's the first kicker ever to have 4 50-yarders in one game, one of them being an overtime winner. Why is he so good, do you think?
I think he's just got ice water in his veins. Like he's smooth. It's like golfing, right? He just goes out and he just doesn't think and he just kicks. And he was awesome. I mean, great signing by Chris Ballard to get him in this building. Obviously had a huge impact on the game on Sunday.
Yeah, he looks cool too. You know what I mean? He looks cool. And I think a lot of people would say with his last name, his mental toughness, I assume, throughout his entire life.
Oh, yeah.
The guy never seems to be rattled ever. Watching him, I'm so damn impressed. Please let him know that we're all massive fans. D-Bud has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on behind the curtain with that defense. They've just been playing lights out. I feel like even from week 1, tough loss, ETN got the late run late, but outside of that, they've been playing great. Start with Zaire Franklin, Juju Brents gets their hometown kid, makes a big play. What's going on behind the scenes with that defense?
No, they're playing lights out. They're playing together as a football team, and that's what you want as a defense, play together, right? All 11 as one. I mean, starting up front with Buck and Grove and Sampson and Dio and Quiddy. I mean, they're getting after the quarterback, and then EJ and Zaire and Shaq in the middle, making all those tackles, making all those plays. And then on the back end, those guys are coming up big for us as well. But I think those guys are just playing tough, playing physical. They're playing together. And credit to our coaches, Gus Bradley leading that defense, and the rest of the coaching staff. Getting them ready to go every Sunday.
How much are you talking to the defense throughout the week? You know, head coach now, not just offensive coordinator. Has it been a tough balance to figure out when you chirp, when you motivate, when you talk, or how have you handled that?
It's been a great balance for me personally. You know, having a guy like Gus Bradley as a defensive coordinator who's been a head coach. You know, we have conversations throughout the week, but everything he's doing from a preparation standpoint is in line with what I believe in, and he's doing a heck of a job.
Hey. We can do it, can't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can do it, Coach. You know what I mean? I know you obviously believe that, okay? You have to, but like the more and more we watch as fans, I think the more and more we go from like, okay, this can be a good start to AR's season. If we see a couple highlights, that'll be good. Already saw him. Already saw him. You need to tell his ass, by the way, we're doing that spin move.
Oh, yeah.
That 360 spike, that needs to be AR's thing. You know
That's a staple. That's a staple. That's got to be a staple.
Well, then he did this.
Talk to him about it.
Yeah. We got it.
That was the Tootsie Roll. That was the Tootsie Roll, the throwback.
I respect the throwback, but we got a thing. You know, he had like the best spike in the history of football, and then he just moves on to another celebration. It's like, Bud, we had it.
That's the one.
Bud, you're the only one that can do this, and you're 6'4", 250, which leads to a great question from Tone.
Yeah, Coach, when AR comes back, how do you juggle his health and then his running ability? Because there's a lot of quarterbacks in this league with great running ability who we feel like offense coordinators aren't running them enough because they're worried about them getting hurt. Now that he has gotten banged up a little bit, how do you juggle that when he comes back?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I get asked that a lot, obviously, with the dual threat quarterbacks. And I think, obviously, that's one of his talents, right, is running the football. So being smart with them, you know, him being smart in the situations, you know, when to get down, when to get out of bounds, when to know when he's got to go get it. And those are conversations that we have throughout the week, you know, on a daily basis of when to be smart and when to not be smart.
I assume that, I don't know. I don't know enough about concussions, or I don't know if anybody does. And I'm excited to hear what we know about concussions 5 years from now versus what we know now. You know, just as a broader conversation. We all assume AR is back this week, though. Is that how you're operating?
He's progressing well, and I'll leave that up to the doctors. But he's progressing well.
Hey, rookie head coach, that was a good answer.
Smart.
Well done. That was a really, really solid answer. Speaking of being a head coach, Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach, obviously you're one of the brightest young minds in the NFL, especially when it comes to offense. But I was looking at some of your coaching history, and I believe you were a defensive assistant at one point in your career. Why do you think it's important for offensive-minded coaches to kind of start on defense? We talked about this last week, and it seems like it's much more common for guys like Josh McDaniels, for instance. He started on, you know, the defensive side with New England, and then he progressed to the offensive side. Why do you think that's important for dudes to learn, whether it be offense and then switching to defense, or even defensive-minded coaches who start on the offense?
I think you get the defensive perspective, you know, especially, you know, from a front standpoint, a structure standpoint, a coverage standpoint, how they match routes up, how they want to attack certain routes from a coverage standpoint. So when you get a chance to flip back on the other side of the ball, you kind of know how defenses are matching things up, so you can do your best as a coach to put your guys in position to make plays. And it was an invaluable experience for me. You know, when I got that call, back in 2011 from North Turner, he said, "Hey, I got a job for you, but it's on defense." And I said, "I'll be there tomorrow." So I got in my Camry. I was in Louisville. I drove across the country. I was a defensive secretary for 2 years. In that role, just, you know, doing playbooks, doing drawings, breakdowns, all those different things. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You've been coaching the NFL, 12 years now?
Yeah, they're going into year 13 now, yeah.
Well, congratulations on successful career coaching in the NFL. And I assume whenever you're talking to AR, is that all business, just the plays? Or when you're talking to Gardner, or are you giving tips and thoughts like, hey, let's remember this type of stuff? How do you weave that in whenever you're on the headset?
Yeah, it depends on the concept, what we're doing. You know, if it's something simple, there's just, you know, play call. But, you know, if there's something, just a little reminder, you know, I'll give that to him.
How do you feel about your relationship with AR?
Awesome. I love everything about him. The person he is, the way he works, the teammate he is to his guys. Love it. Love it.
How about you and Chris Ballard? You and Chris Ballard pretty tight?
Love it.
Yeah?
Love
You have to say that,
love
I guess,
Ballard.
but you could
No,
say
I don't have to. I love it. Love him.
Okay, that's good, right? We got
He's a competitor. He's a competitor, and I love that about him.
Yeah, I saw him in a suit on the sideline with a flat bill hat last week, clapping for some sort of call that took place. I love that. But when the GM, the coach, and the quarterback are all aligned, feels like that's whenever really special things can happen. And I think we got it. That man, Jim Irsay's got to be pumped about it. What has his messages been to you, aside from obviously him mourning through Takate and Lolita passing away?
Yep.
What have you and Jim's conversations been like as your stint as the head coach here?
He's been absolutely tremendous. Just the support that he's given me since I've been here. Our conversations that we have on the phone have been awesome. And, he wants to win as bad as anyone. And this league is obviously a production, business league. And we're going to do everything we can in our power to win for him and the rest of these fans.
Did you tell him that you were saddened by Takate's passing or no?
I haven't talked to him about that yet. I need to call him.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Be too late.
Shane,
Yeah,
what are we
for sure.
doing?
Not good.
We'd like you to be around. You know what I mean? We like you here. Let's make sure we.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No question. I got to get that done.
That's
On
Conti's
it.
fault.
I don't know if this is good, Shane.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Shane,
Well, we had a text message. We've had a text message.
you said
we
like,
text,
"Hey, sorry
yeah.
about that whale dying." Is that what you said?
Yeah. I know he put a lot into that thing. It's sad deal.
It is a sad
Sad deal.
Yes.
There we go. All right, we'll clip that.
Thank you.
I'll text that to him. Yeah, you're busy on ball. You don't have time to talk about a whale. Last question here from Ty.
Coach, last year there was a lot of criticism and just kind of doubt around the O-line with them being one of the highest paid units in the NFL. But through 3 games this year, especially with not having JT, Zach Moss has looked unbelievable. And then obviously AR had quite a bit of success on the ground too. How much emphasis did you place on kind of getting the O-line back to getting right? And what have your thoughts been on them so far this season?
They've been awesome. Obviously, the last 2 games, going over 100 on the ground, and not giving up a sack in week 2. Just they're playing together. They're playing physical, and credit to Tony, our line coach, working with those guys, and Chris Watt, our assistant line coach, getting these guys ready and prepared every single week to go out and execute.
Hey, we appreciate you. Good luck the rest of the way, and thank you for taking time on this glorious Tuesday. We'll be there on Sunday.
Yeah.
Let's have a big one.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Hey, throw that ball around. Let's think of some good plays. Let's be entertaining, and let's go win a game. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Shane Steichen.
Coach.
Needs a call.
Yeah, he does.
What is that about?
I'm going to stop the call. Say, get off this call
Yeah.
and call Jim
Yeah.
and say, hey, Takate was robbed
Yeah.
of a great life that you were going to give her. I'm almost a little bit worried about what's going on now under the hood of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, what happened to the circle? It feels like the circle isn't so much
the
a
circle's
circle
there.
anymore. It feels like a sphere almost because not every chain is linked together.
Yeah, he's thinking about the circle. That's all Shane thinks about. He doesn't think about the terrible circle that Lolita was living in down there in Miami.
True.
He's not thinking about that circle. He's thinking about the circle that's right outside the locker
Circle
room.
of death.
What's that?
Lolita was living in the circle of death.
The circle of life happened.
He could have at
that's-
least sent flowers.
Yeah. Or maybe like
He sent a text, and I think it had the reaction in the text of like firework or like flowers.
Yeah,
Or
the heart
send
one.
it-
The heart one?
Yeah, you could send
Hope it
like,
wasn't balloons.
Well, it wasn't a happy balloon. It was a sad balloon, obviously. He said it was a bad deal. You heard it.
Yeah, he did.
He said it was a bad deal.
We forgot to tell him though. You should have told him. They got 99 coming to town on Sunday. Make sure they block him. With
Aaron Donald, you're talking about?
Yeah.
I don't like that the Rams lose last night, and then we got them again. But I do like the fact they're going Cincinnati back to L.A., back to Indianapolis, back to L.A. on a short week.
True.
After a Monday Night Football.
They should have done a team building trip and stayed here.
Yeah, you think that was going to happen for any team that ever lived in L.A.? Yeah,
Yeah, let's go to Indy for a week.
I don't think so.
Beautiful.